coming up on World of Good.
The work of the Children's Health Fund.
This should be at the top of the list of priorities. The consequences of even minor illnesses can be life-altering.
We'll meet some friends of the Ronald McDonald House Charities.
We're all on this planet to not look out for ourselves entirely. It's not who can consume the most and who can have the most, and it's to look out for each other.
And later we'll meet our person of the week. You might know him as Uncle Junior.
I think the real mission is a social mission. It's one about love and about the heart, connecting with old people. And I saw what it can do.
Hi, I'm Fred Francis.
And I'm Suzanne Rust, and welcome to World of Good.
For every tragic tale of suffering, there is another story of goodwill and compassion, of courage and commitment, of people dedicated to making the world a better place. Our mission is to find these stories. From the hometown hero to the star with a generous heart, from the local cause to the charity with a global reach. Join us as we share these stories and discover a world of good.
America's public hospitals, the emergency rooms, have borne the brunt of millions of earaches and sore throats. That's if, a big if, the uninsured can find a way to get their sick kids in. In 1987, one organization stepped in to help. Then, a very caring pediatric doctor from Brooklyn and a very famous songwriter from Queens toured a New York City homeless shelter and witnessed the very poor living conditions that thousands of children face every day, and discovered enormous health care challenges that went along with it.
I was working for USA for Africa, the organization that produced We Are the World, as a famine relief effort. Paul happened to be one of the singers on that record, but Paul was interested in USA for Africa allowing for at least a small portion of that money to remain here in the United States. I took him on basically a tour from hell of the most squalid, horrendous environments I had seen ever in a U.S. urban situation.
So we went to these single-room occupancy hotels for the first time, and we were shocked. It was like the third world. It was heart-wrenching.
Dr. Irwin Redlener and Paul Simon decided to bring health care to those children. They founded the Children's Health Fund. They built a mobile medical clinic designed by Dr. Redlener's wife, Karen.
When you want to tackle big problems like poverty and homelessness, it can be overwhelming. But from our perspective, you just need to start somewhere.
The idea came up of a mobile medical unit being a useful tool to, to go to these hotels and treat the populations there.
And we'll be right back.
A concert at Madison Square Garden was the first event. Paul Simon enlisted some of his talented and generous friends to join in. James Taylor, Bruce Springsteen, Billy Joel. That's just to name a few.
We had the first mobile unit now outside of Madison Square Garden. And I bring Don Mattingly out there, and here's the thing that happened. He takes his hand and puts his hand on the side of the mobile unit. He liked the fact that this was devoted to something that was tangible. In other words, it was giving to a charity that had a visible and tactile reality to it. You could touch what you were donating to.
Today, these big blue buses bring doctors and nurses to hard-to-reach areas of the country and help some of the most impoverished children and families in urban and rural America. They have treated over 400,000 children in 26 programs in 200 locations nationwide.
The consequences of even minor illnesses can be life-altering, and you will lose a citizen and their capacity to experience and enjoy life and give something back to the culture and the society. You'll lose that person for life over illnesses that are easily treatable.
For all those far-off places they've traveled, they've set up shop here in Harlem, New York, just down from the famed Apollo Theater and a few blocks from the office of former President Clinton. A place where it's impossible to forget the mission, to bring the health care of the well-off to those who have little or nothing.
I met Irvin when he was 3 years old It was about 18 years ago. What's interesting about that is that it was at a time when we first came into the community. We knew the South Bronx was both a very underserved and a community that a lot of formerly homeless families were moving into.
I remember first it was like a mobile unit, like a small area. My first impression of it was, it's awesome. Because, you know, when can you see like medical supplies and everything inside of a vehicle? These doctors are being transported from great places here to help us out. And it's something that we appreciate because I guess help wasn't really available to everybody here.
This is a community that was really desperate for a medical home. And they trusted us to be there, to grow, and to take care of their children. And Irvin and his family were one of our very first families. That's very meaningful to us and personally to me as his physician and his family's physician.
So many emotions run through me because, you know, that's the amount of gratitude I have towards Dr. Shapiro. A great man, impacted my life in so many ways. I mean, right now I'm at NYU. I want to be a pediatrician in the future. It's because of him, you know, how he treated me when I was younger. And I still see him today. You know, he's still my doctor today. I go for regular appointments or checkups. You know, and it's great because we go and not only do we talk about, like, me, we talk about, like, my life, my grades, how I'm doing, how he can help me. Like, he's always asking me how can he help me out.
It's really why I do the work I do, and it's why I want to work in an underserved community.
But at the fundamental core, which I insisted on from day one, is the highest possible quality of health care for America's neediest children.
Thanks so much, Fred. You know, the Redliners and Paul Simon have really dedicated their lives to helping families and children. It's truly inspirational. Coming up next, the work of the Ronald McDonald House Charities. Ronald McDonald House Charities helps 4.5 million children and families every year in 53 countries around the world. Ronald McDonald House Charities began in 1974 when Fred Hill, a player with the Philadelphia Eagles, learned that his daughter Kim was diagnosed with leukemia. The Eagles team and the Philadelphia community rallied together and approached McDonald's restaurants with an idea to help create a safe and comfortable place for families to live near the hospital where their child was receiving treatment. McDonald's rose to the challenge and donated the proceeds of their famous Shamrock Shakes to the cause. The first Ronald McDonald House was opened in Philadelphia. The mission was born, and since then, over 300 houses around the world have opened their doors to welcome families in need.
Our mission is very simple. You know, we want to help the families along. We want to ease their minds. We want to strengthen their spirits, and of course we want their bodies to heal.
The mission of the Ronald McDonald House Charities is based on that simple idea:
to keep children and their families together while the child undergoes serious medical treatment.
Sloan Kettering is treating my son's cancer, but the Ronald McDonald House treats our hearts, our souls.
This is the story of one family's battle against cancer and how the Ronald McDonald House Charities has kept them together.
That's next on World of Good.
It was in April of 2010 and in Panama. It was Easter week and my son went up into the mountains with his friends. He had tripped on a tree trunk that was laying in the jungle there and got up and brushed himself off and kept on running. A week later, when we came home, he started complaining about pain in his leg and his left thigh. They did an MRI on his hip and they found something that was the size of a golf ball.
In the summer of 2010,
The Murata's teenage son, Peter, was diagnosed with osteosarcoma, a cancer of the bone.
The doctor basically told us, your son has a tumor, is malignant, is fast growing, and you have no time to waste. We just got on it, and a week later we were here in New York.
The Muratas traveled from Panama to New York City to receive the proper medical treatment for Peter.
He was enjoying his life as a teenager, doing all the things that teenagers do.
Good to be back.
He had a good, healthy lifestyle. I felt it was just unjust, unfair, but I suppose everyone feels that way about their child with cancer.
childhood cancer. Two words that should never be said together. But when they are, it's a diagnosis for the whole family.
When you spend all day watching your child get chemotherapy, they're laid in bed, they're hooked up to a bunch of tubes and machines, and you come home late at night, your emotional gravity has increased 1,000-fold, and you're just slammed down to the ground by the weight of your own weariness and despair. And when you come here, it's an uplifting.
Got room for us? Of course. Thank you.
This is his comfort zone. He goes up, he climbs into bed, he has his crutches, climbs into bed, pulls those covers over him, and rests his soul. I got to say that. I mean, he's hurting, but this place gives him comfort. It's familiar surroundings, and it's a niche that he can crawl into and feel safe. And it's just wonderful. It's a godsend.
It's like a home away from home, definitely. When you're in the hospital, you go, oh, let's go home. It's Ronald McDonald's. It is home. It's friends, people you can talk to. You make a life here.
It's magic here because it truly is a place where your heart finds rest.
People spend their Saturday mornings or their Sunday mornings to make you a breakfast or a Wednesday night to bring you a meal. It touches your heart. It does.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more World of Good.
The thing that I think the public needs to know is we are growing. We're expanding our programs. And in order to do that, no single corporation can fund that projected growth. We need lots of donors in order to continue to build programs and help our families.
The charity has been able to thrive and grow with the help of their thousands of volunteers and donations from individuals and corporations.
I think a person has to have a certain quality to do this kind of work. I absolutely believe you have to have a kind and caring heart, be able to hug and show the family that you, while you can't exactly understand it, you know, you're there to listen, you're there to hold hands, you're there to help in any way that you can, help them have somewhat of a normal situation in an abnormal situation.
Because they come from afar, in addition to the housing, we provide an array of social service functions for them in order to make them feel like a family while they're going through this difficult period of time in their lives. Everything from pet therapy dog programs when the kids return from the hospital from their chemotherapy and their radiation treatments, to an array of social programming for the children so that they constantly have activities that take their mind off of what they're going through.
The healing process is improved because of the ability to stay together as a family unit, because they're getting the love and the hugs and the kisses from the families, from our volunteers, you know, from the staff members.
And the word continues to spread with the help of a few famous friends.
You have a kid that is sick, you know, the last thing you want to do is stay away from them. And, you know, it's amazing to know that there's an organization like this one.
It gives you a good feeling inside to see the volunteers, to see people that take time out of their busy day to go and help somebody else. It does your heart well.
You realize it's for people who don't have much and need help. And then you realize, wow, they're getting not something good, they're getting the best. And that's awesome.
What I love about Ronald McDonald House Charities is that they realize a sick child is really a diagnosis for the whole family. And they try to take into account all the support and services that those families need so that then the parents can go and just be with the child.
Our person of the week is Mr. Dominic Chianese, best known as Uncle Junior on the hit show The Sopranos. Today we're honoring him for his singing talents and his work with his charity, Joy Through Art, a charity he created to bring music and song to the elder folks of our society. What is the goal or mission of Joy Through Art?
The mission itself is to bring joy into the lives of the residents of nursing homes and other places where they are institutionalized, where they're getting fed, they're getting a clean bed, they get the roof over their head, they are taken care of. The real mission is to bring artists, entertainers, so that they can have more joy in their lives. They can feel more important in their lives. Because there's something about being institutionalized, especially if you're in a wheelchair in a nursing home, that makes you feel lonely if nobody's around.
Dominic, an octogenarian himself, has been dedicated to entertaining seniors in nursing homes for years.
One woman, her name is Anne. When I go there with the guitar, or Bob goes with his guitar, she dances in the wheelchair because she used to dance. And she'll start dancing. And and showing off to the other. She's made happy for that 2 hours. I think the real mission is a social mission. It's one about love and about the heart, connecting with old people. And I saw what it can do. Hey Mom, hey Pop, I want to fly out this window to sunny Italy. I want to say
Thank you, Dominic. Your work is very inspiring.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time for a brand new edition of World of Good.